The Russian Air Force will launch a new massive airstrike on Ukraine in the first days of January. Air bases are being prepared for the operation. In the first days of the new year 2024, Russia intends to carry out another massive airstrike on Ukraine using strategic aviation. Air bases of long-range aviation of the Russian Federation are brought to a special mode, preparing for the operation. Such information was released on the evening of December 30 by the Russian human rights organization Gulagu.net, citing its verified source in the Russian security services. Today our source reported that a significant force of long-range aviation of the Russian Air Force is being prepared for strikes on January 1 and 2, 2024 on the territory of Ukraine, the human rights activists wrote. They specified that the information was shared by the same source, which in May 2023 warned about the threat of ballistic missiles to Kiev. Then the information was confirmed. The AFU was able for the first time to intercept Russian missiles Kinzhal, which were previously considered invulnerable. We shall remind you that in the early hours of December 29, Russia carried out the most massive aerial bombardment of Ukraine over the entire period of the full-scale war. The Russian Federation used almost all types of cruise and ballistic missiles, except for the Caliber, as well as Shahd kamikaze drones. A total of 158 enemy targets were detected in Ukrainian airspace, 114 of which were intercepted. The Russian Federation's plans to break through the Ukrainian air defense were foiled, but unfortunately it did not do without casualties and destruction. According to the latest data, about 40 people were killed in that attack, and more than 100 were injured. Also last night, Ukrainian defenders attacked military facilities on Russian territory. The loudest was in Bryansk. On the night of December 29-30, the security and defense forces of Ukraine launched a powerful strike on military facilities on the territory of the Russian Federation. In total, more than 70 drones of different types were involved in the attack, the sources said. According to the interlocutors, the loudest was in Bryansk, where a group of drones attacked the Kremnoyel factory. This is one of the largest producers of electronics for Russian military equipment. In particular, for long-range missiles and Panzer air defense systems. It is known that there were also explosions at several military facilities in Belgorod, Tula, Tver and Moscow. Russian air defense was able to shoot down a certain portion of Ukrainian UAVs, but a significant number of them effectively hit their targets. Unlike Russian terrorist strikes on Ukrainian territory, the Ukrainian security and defense forces struck exclusively at enemy military facilities. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Polish Army said that a Russian missile violated Polish airspace. This was stated by General Wisław Kukula, Chief of the General Staff of the Polish Army, at a briefing after the meeting of the Polish National Security Bureau, reports European Pravda. Everything points to the fact that a Russian missile invaded Polish airspace. We have confirmation of this on national and allied radars, Kukula said. Polsat News with reference to sources earlier reported that, most likely, in Polish airspace, flew into the Russian cruise missile Kh-22 or Kh-101, which then flew back to Ukraine and was shot down by air defense. Polish President Andrzej Duda called a meeting of the National Security Bureau at 1300 hours after it became known that an unknown object flew into Polish territory from Ukraine. The flying object, moving at a great speed, was observed by residents of the commune Volgobacho in Lublin province. It is about Kiev, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Odessa, Lviv, Zaporizhzhia and other cities were hit. There are dead and wounded. The head of the Polish Defense Ministry said he was in constant contact with the president, the prime minister, the chief of the general staff, and the operational commander of the armed forces.